Wilder, thank you so much for the update. And for more on this story, let's bring in geopolitical strategist and former State Department diplomacy consultant John Sitilides and former Deputy National Security Advisor for President Trump, Victoria Coates. Victoria, we'll start with you here. Your reaction to Shelby's report and this leak. What does that indicate to you more broadly?
Oh, Bob and Katrina, good to be with you. I mean, this is really a shocking development that somebody from the CIA is taking information that's really shared with us by the Israelis and then putting it out publicly to warn the Iranians that this Israeli attack might be coming. So you see where the culture is here. It is inherently anti-Israel. It is reflexively pro-Iranian and trying to take issues and events into their own hands. I also don't think it's any coincidence that this discovery was made today. Not the week before the election. This should have been pretty easy to track who had access to this material, who downloaded it, who, if they printed it, however they got it onto the Telegram channel. That should have been something you could figure out in a couple of days. So I think not a surprise they're cleaning things up after the election because clearly they got the memo that there's going to be a new sheriff in town.
Absolutely. John, what do you make of this leak?
Well, there are going to be so many questions that need to be answered in the weeks and months ahead. We understand that he worked for the CIA, but was he an actual CIA employee as an agent or an official, or was he a subcontractor? What was he doing in Cambodia, getting access to all of this very highly sensitive information, as Victoria has correctly pointed out? And I think there's going to be an internal review at CIA, maybe once President Trump is in office, about the failure of proper compartmentalization at CIA, that individuals should only have a need-to-know access to highly sensitive documents and information. And the question here is, why is a CIA agent or officer accessing intelligence from the National Security Agency and the U.S. Geospatial Intelligence Agency and then able to leak it in ways that are very detrimental to our Middle Eastern partner? So many, many questions to come. And I would offer one more thing. Maybe it's time to restore the death penalty for spies who betray the U.S. in this manner.
Victoria, you, of course, know a lot about national security policies. You said there's a new sheriff in town, of course, President-elect Trump. With a lot of the, I will say, lack of trustworthiness that we've been seeing in these three-letter agencies, how dramatically do you think things will change and how quickly once Trump gets back in office? Do you think that will restore Americans' trust in these agencies?
Well, I think we've seen the president-elect move very, very quickly to establish his national security team after the election. And I think that's critically important because now these nominees have been made. We could potentially even see hearings after January 3rd when the new Congress is seated, and they could be confirmed before the president is sworn in. So this process can be accelerated. So as you say, they can hit the ground running because this is not confined to the agency. Although I have all faith that John Ratcliffe, who up until his nomination for CIA director has been a fellow here at the Heritage Foundation and a dear friend, I know he will be going after the culture of the CIA. But this extends to the State Department as well. We still don't know what the security infraction was that has the Special Envoy for Iran, Rob Malley, has been suspended without pay for a year and a half for something similar. So this appears to be an administration-wide problem. But I agree with John. I think the penalties have to be the stiffest for this.
John, what do you make of Pete Hegseth, poised to become the new Secretary of Defense? What do you think?
It's quite the stunning appointment, that's to be sure, not only among President Trump's detractors, but even a number of Republicans who were expecting someone maybe not from the Washington establishment that needs to bring, serious procurement and acquisition reform to help the Defense Department rebuild America's defense industrial base so that we're better able to deter foes in Asia, in Eurasia, and in the Middle East. But I think the idea that he is really bringing in people with a completely fresh approach to almost every aspect of governance from top down really is emblematic of the Pete Hegseth appointment. And I thought maybe he might be bringing in someone with a major CEO experience, somebody who's run a large corporation with hundreds of thousands or millions of employees, because keep in mind, the Pentagon has over 1.3 million employees who have to be properly managed. But I think the need for reform deep in the Pentagon is so profound that only someone like a Pete Hegseth, completely outside the circle, is going to be someone who earns President Trump's loyalty and competence.
Well, President Trump has been awarded the trust of the American people, the majority right now. So we'll see if it works out. He's got all the confidence in the world in Pete. John, Victoria, good to see you both. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, folks, as many as you may know, our friend and colleague, Michael Grimm, host of Wake Up Weekend, suffered a very serious injury and is currently paralyzed following a devastating accident when he was thrown from a horse back in September. Michael is a veteran Marine and former FBI agent and former U.S. Congressman. We know Michael's love of life, his grit, his perseverance are critically important at this time, but we are praying for him, for his family. Michael's friends and family, though, they have set up a GoFundMe